your scholarship has certainly covered a very wide range of important topics in the Second Temple period. So it's hard to pick actually where to start. And I will just let our audience know that you have a great number of innovative and exciting and provocative ideas with regard to all of these important questions. But I thought maybe one good starting point would be the following question. And simply put, it could be phrased as this: are the Essenes marginal or central to Second Temple Judaism?
Yeah, I mean, in my book, The Essenes, the Scrolls of the Dead Sea, I argued that they were far more central than has been assumed. Really, even before the Dead Sea Scrolls were found, there was a kind of model of who the Essenes were, which marginalized them really on the basis of the New Testament accounts, because people couldn't really see them clearly in the New Testament accounts. And I think they are there. I think they are dubbed the Herodians in the Gospel of Mark, because they're.
Can we just pause there, because that's actually a really exciting and interesting point that you introduced there, to connect the Herodians with the Essenes. Can you tell us how you do this, and what's the argument?
Well, the argument is that in the Gospel of Mark, there is this altercation between Jesus and certain legal authorities about healing on the Sabbath. And those legal authorities are called the Pharisees and the Herodians. And what has happened is people have thought, Herodians, they must be something to do with the court of Herod Antipas in Tiberias. But actually, the court of Herod Antipas were really not interested in healing on the Sabbath issues. This is a halakhic problem that they're faced with. And so we've got to see them as some kind of legal authority. In Galilee, they are conferring with the Pharisees, but they are not Pharisees themselves. So this idea has popped up in the past. I'm not the first one to suggest it, but I endorse that these are a group of legal specialists, and they would map onto being the Essenes, because Josephus tells us that the Essenes were very in with Herod the Great. Not that they super endorsed Herod the Great, but Herod the Great accepted them as bona fide. He respected them because they had predicted, this Essene prophet Menahem had predicted that he would become king. And if you are responsible for a prophecy that comes true, especially in regard to a ruler, then you're very lucky, because that ruler is then going to look after you. So I see there was a special place for the Essenes in Herodian times. And I think that does tie in quite well with what we have in the scrolls, because in the scrolls, the Essenes, I do think they're the author of the so-called sectarian Dead Sea Scrolls. They're very critical of the Hasmonean dynasty, but we don't really have anything that indicates they were critical of the Herodians, and that's partly a timing issue, because a lot of their texts are to do with in the Hasmonean period, but. I think it correlates really with the idea that they could be a group that was happy with Herod the Great, which is weird on the basis of Josephus, because Herod the Great was not a particularly good ruler. But if they were popularly perceived as being endorsed by Herod and safe in the way that the Pharisees were not, then they would have been called Herodians in a disparaging way, I think, by people in Galilee and Judea. So I think they are in the New Testament, and they are legal authorities. So that's point one.
Yes.
But point two is that Josephus himself indicates that the Essenes are incredibly central. He doesn't push them away into a corner of Judea at all. They're active in the temple, as Menahem is a prophet in the temple, teacher, and he indicates they're one of 3 legal schools, hiereses, in Judea at the time, who are sort of like political parties. They dictate policy, and the Essenes are the party that are out of favor in terms of the temple administration, but they are still very concerned with it and concerned with how Judea should run.
What Bible do you read, and how do you know it's the right one? There's only one version of the Bible, right? It might surprise you to learn that Bible translations led to many versions of Holy Scripture. Long ago, translators interpreted the Hebrew Bible, ensuring it would be enjoyed in many languages. But when they encountered Hebrew words they didn't understand, translators relied on their individual cultural context and used different words with different meanings unrelated to the original ones. This led to Bible versions that lacked the full, beautiful, original explanations becoming part of our history. That's why when you join our online classes, you'll get back to the source of the original Hebrew Bible to uncover hidden meanings.
Get back to the source. Join our online course today, where the treasures of the authentic Bible await you.
Click on the link and register to start your biblical experience.